What is going on, guys, and welcome back to another video. Today we're back with Warface Breakout, and as you clicked on the video by seeing the title, today we're going to be discussing attachments. What are the best attachments that you can put on your weapons to help you dominate in this game, whether it be casual or hardcore matches in ranked? Overall, making yourself a better player and being able to conquer, even with a little bit of lag. Making yourself superior with the best sights, I mean, hey, it's your best chance of winning. So anyways, one of the biggest features in Warface Breakout is customization of your weapons. I mean, you have access to all the different weapons, but being able to know what sights suit your playstyle the best, and what sights basically overall are just the best to use, can really make a difference in your gameplay. Alright, so first of all, we're going to go ahead and start with the wordings. So I'm just going to use for references SMGs to show off the sights and showcase them here. Now, I was planning on making this video in the past, but I'm making it today, Wednesday, July 1st, because of the release of this new little thing that allows you to actually preview the sight in the menu, which is new, which is really great addition to the game, and it's really going to make this a lot easier. And it also will let you guys sort of look at what you think is the best sight. You get a little bit of an impression of what it's going to look like for you to be using that sight. So first off, let's talk about different categories of weapons. Obviously, we have the handguns, SMGs, shotguns, assault rifles, sniper rifles, and so forth. Now, I'm going to make a different video in the future telling you what the best weapons are to use and what I recommend from my time playing this game. But for now, we're just going to focus on the sights. So what I really recommend for SMGs is you have a lot of different sights. You've got the 2x Battlescope, Mini Scope, Scout Scope, Precision Scope, Rail Scope, you got the Aim Point Comp, and these two sights here. And then obviously you have your iron sights and the Red Dot Sight and this Mini Scope, which is the Mark II edition. So there's a lot of sights. You're like, whoa, what's going on here? There's a lot of stuff to talk about. There's a lot of sights, and you know, you may be confused with what you want to use. So I've gone through and I've used all these sights, you know, I've played matches with them. So let's talk about the Battlescope. Now, I'm not going to go show these on all the different weapons, but I will maybe put in some footage showing you what they are like and what their what the sort of gameplay, you know, usage is, what they look like in game. But first off here, we have the Battlescope. Now, as you can see, you know, it's a pretty standard scope. It's 2x magnification. Now, I personally recommend that the Battlescope is one of the preferred sights to use. I think that it's definitely useful for your SMGs and your assault rifles. I recommend using this scope. Now, it may not be everybody's scope, because once again, this all comes down to what you really think is your play style. So I would recommend, I'm going to give you a few scopes here in this video, telling you what I recommend, maybe rank some scopes, tell you what are the best in my opinion, and you guys go around and play with those scopes. Now, you might like some other scopes that, you know, I don't like. More holographic scopes, you may like that sort of thing more. But it really all matters about the weapon too. Anyways, mini scopes. This is a scope I've been playing around with more recently. A very actually good scope, because I find this very easy to get headshots with this scope. I just call it the headshot scope, and no, it's not the Mark II mini scope. Don't get this confused with the Mark II mini scope. It's the 2x mini scope. Scout scope isn't really my thing. I haven't played a ton with it. It's not my thing. It's kind of hard to see there, but I mean, maybe it would be easy for headshots. But in this video, I do not recommend the Scout scope. Precision scope. Now, the 3x precision scope is a lot like the mini scope. Now, you may be saying, what? Why is it like the mini scope? Well, the mini scope doesn't have those lines, the crosshairs, but it has, you know, your circle, basic circle sight. But this has both. So it's a little bit longer range, so you're going to have that more of range. So it's not going to be as good for close range, but I do definitely recommend it for at least one of your SMGs that you're going to equip on one of your classes. Now, the rail scope. Once again, this is a scope that has the crosshairs, and it's very small, in my opinion. I don't prefer this scope, and I don't recommend that you use this scope. Now, the Aim Point Comp 4S. Once again, it's just simple little dot in the middle. I've tried using this scope. It was one of the first scopes that I used, and let me just say, overall, I don't recommend this scope, because after testing some other ones, I don't recommend this one either. Now, we're going to go on to the Eotech 5.53 scopes, and there's a Mark II and a Mark I of this scope, and they kind of look the same. And at first, before I used them, I thought they were the same thing, but no, there is a big difference here. This is going to be your holographic sights. If you like those holographic sights, then this is what that is for you. This is your classic, you know, this is what everyone's used to, Rainbow Six Siege sort of style, that sort of thing. This sight is actually very good. If you're into holographic sights, I do recommend this one right here. This can be very effective on SMGs, particularly. I don't recommend it for AR usage, not particularly, I just don't recommend that. But the Eotech 5.53, very good sight if you use this one. Same for the one that's just a simple dot. And you may say, why is it? Well, I just think it's very much, it's visible. I used it some, and it worked out effectively for me. I know you may say, well, that's very similar to this sight. I don't know if it's a little bit smaller, doesn't sit up as high. I'm not sure if there's a difference, but I found it effective on some SMGs. Now this sight, the Mark II miniscope. Once again, it's simple crosshairs. I think there's better sights than this, so I do not recommend this sight. Now on to the Troglo Red Dot Sight. Now this sight is useful. It's different. It's not the same kind of sight. It's more of an iron sight. It's smaller. It's closer to, you know, the iron sights. But I do personally like this sight on specific weapons. Now let's talk more specific what these sights fit on and what I recommend. So overall, Battlescope, I say it's a must use. You definitely gotta have that Battlescope in your top 5 sights, even top 3 in my opinion. Miniscope 2 times, definitely think you should use this sight. It is one that by far in my opinion is one of the best sights, better sights to use. Do not use the Scout Scope. Precision Scope, another sight that you definitely want to hit up and put in your top 3 in my opinion. Do not use the Rail Scope, not the Aim Point, and these two here are your holographic sights. I would say this is number 4 and number 5 in your top 5. So once again, you've got, you know, I say, in my opinion, this would be number 1 for me, this is number 2, that's number 3, and then your number 4 and number 5. Those are my top 5 choices for sights, and this would be my number 6 on specific weapons, because, you know, it's useful in some situations, but it's more specific to certain weapons. So let's break that down a little bit for you. So for the SMG category for both classes, Wardens and Reapers, you see here I'm using the Mini Scope on one and the Precision Scope on another. Now that is once again because I want variety. I mean, you can always switch up what you like, but this way, both of these SMGs in my opinion are really good, but the 3x Precision Scope really helps in the Desert Tech, and this really fits this weapon in my opinion because of the burst and the rapid fire difference. It's just my thing, I just think it works well, and I like to have both scopes available in case I want them. And obviously on my third choice of a weapon I have a Battlescope, on the other two, you know, just because, why not? You know, I also have that Battlescope because, you know, in my opinion it's ranked number 3. Now, I'm not going to go too into detail with the shotgun stuff. I'll talk more about best weapons in the future, but if you're looking for a sight to put on shotguns, I do recommend the holographic or the basic Troglo Red Dot Sight, if that's what you're going to go for. Or just use your iron sights if you don't feel like using anything at all. Alright, so now back to ARs. If you're going to just go into the basic AR category, I don't do much with LMGs, but once again, here we go, we have the mini scopes. I put mini scopes on ARs, but I don't use ARs a lot, so you can really be any of the top 5 scopes. Honestly, it can be holographic sights, it can be any of the ones I recommend, precision scopes, any of those. I mean, you can go as far as that. But what I do recommend for the M16A3 specifically is I recommend using the Red Dot Sight. It just seems to work really well for me. I know that's a weird sight to use on the gun, but hey, I've seen other people use it, and I've used it myself, and it's pretty, you know, it's pretty useful. But once again, it's all about your play style. Now, let's move on to sniper rifles. Sniper rifle scopes, they are different attachments for these weapons. So you have the 5 crystal scope, or 5x crystal scope, you have the 4x A scope, and the 4.5 needle scope, and the 5.5x atom scope. And just in general, I think this is an interesting way they've adjusted the game. Obviously, these are all different, you know, zooms, and as far as you can zoom in with your scope. But here's my thing about these specific sights. I think it just makes sense to use the top zoom one. And you may think, oh, well, that's crazy. What if the other ones are better? Well, if you just look at them, First off, I think this is the most detailed of all the sights. It has the most visible crosshairs, other than maybe the 4x. It's sort of more like an AR scope, but in my opinion, it works the best, and just why not stick with it? You're going to get the most range out of it anyway, so that's what I recommend for all of them, but you can play around with all the sights. So for sniper rifle scopes, that would be my top one. Pretty much ignore the rest. And, you know, melee weapons, well, that's clearly nothing. But once again, and there's no sights for handguns, which I do find really interesting in this game that they didn't add sights for handguns. But I mean, hey, maybe in the future, I guess. It would be interesting to see. But, you know, overall, those are the only sights that are different. You have the AR, or the standard sights, and you have the sniper sights. So, once again, my top sights, you know, are going to be the Battlescope, the Precision Scope, and the Mini Scope, and then your two holographics, and then obviously the 5.5x Sniper Scope. Now, in the future, I will be doing a more detailed video on the specific weapons, including, you know, statistics and what I think is overall the best weapon, whether it be suppressed weapons, you know, loud weapons, whatever, whatnot. You can see some of my choices for what I use on some of my weapons right now, but I'm still experimenting, trying to find what I personally think is going to be that best weapon. So, I want to thank you all for joining me today and watching this video. Thank you for the support so far. It's been great making content again, you know, during these tough times. I hope you are all doing well. You can let me know down in the comment section below, and, you know, if you want to give this video a like, if you enjoy it, and want to subscribe for more in the future, if you're enjoying my content, that would be greatly appreciated. But remember, you don't have to. But anyways, until then, I'll see you guys in the next one. Thank you for watching.